Welcome back. We are officially 15 weeks into the SOS 20-week live challenge. 5 weeks left, backstretch, and this is where the pace tests every one of us, right? I'm Dr. Lori Smith, CEO and founder of Elegant LLC and founder of Sonar Seeds Empowerment. If you're just joining us, here's what you need to know. I spent over 40 years in federal government in logistics and contracting, with the last 21 of those years as a contracting officer on the other side of the table, evaluating proposals, managing about 143 billion in federal contracts, advising over 11,000 contractors, and watching businesses win big or fall apart before they ever got started. And the pattern that kept showing up had absolutely nothing to do with talent. It was structure. We talk in systems, revenue strategy, and readiness. The most capable business owners were the ones quietly struggling, not because they could not do the work, but because their business wasn't built to hold the growth that they were actually pursuing or chasing. So I said, hey, let me do something about it. So we started this on the 8th of April, going live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and we are here. One topic, one teaching moment, one shift that can change how your business operate. So again, today is week 15, and we are about to get into it. But before we do get into today's topic, what I want to do is get grounded in what is moving and listen to this list with one question in your head. How much of this are you tracking, filing, and responding to in reactive mode? Because you never built the systems in weeks 11 through 14 that would let you handle it any other way. So the first thing that's happened this week is it is the biggest news of the week, actually. CMMC Phase 2 has been suspended. On the 13th of July, the Department of War announced the immediate suspension of Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification Phase 2, the third-party audit phase that was scheduled to go into effect the 10th of November of this year. The suspension was signed by the Department of War Chief Information Officer, Kirsten Davies on the 10th of July, and made public, 3 days later. All Phase 1 self-assessment requirements, however, do remain in place. Again, all Phase 1 self-assessment requirements remain in place. So your NIST SP 800-171 Revision 2 remains the enforced standard. DFARS 252.204-7012 is unchanged. Now, there is a 60-day CMMC Reform Task Force that is now reviewing the program. The RFI comment window closes the 14th of August. So if you were spending significant capital preparing for a third-party audit this fall, that spend is now paused, but your obligation to protect, control unclassified information did not go away. Again, if you was planning on preparing for a third-party audit this fall, that has been paused, but your obligation to protect, control unclassified information did not go away, and the False Claims Act exposure on an inaccurate SPRS score is now where the enforcement risks live. So because the certification step is gone, the affirmation aspect of it is not. And we heard, we know last week that there was actually a contractor that was fined by the Department of Justice for merely just claiming they did that attestation for 2 years and they hadn't. So you could be in right standing with a contract but lying about something else, and they are getting you. So please make sure your information is accurate. The second thing, FAR 52-222-90, the modification deadline is actually 9 days away. July the 24th still is the target date for contracting officers to bilaterally modify existing federal contracts to include Executive Order 14398 deviation clause. Now, the Maryland Attorney General publicly confirmed this week that agencies have been directed to modify existing contracts by July the 24th, and estimates the order could affect as many as 640,000 contracts and subcontracts nationwide, including more than 160,000 contracts with over 34,000 unique vendors. So if you hold an existing federal contract, expect the modification on your desk this week or next week if it has not already arrived. Again, refuse the modification, and the contracting officer is instructed to consider whether the contract no longer meets the agency's needs and terminate for convenience. Do not sign without reading it, and do not refuse without a legal review. The third thing, the Maryland federal lawsuit is still pending. The coalition of 19 states plus the District of Columbia filed on June the 10th in the U.S. District Court for the District of Maryland. The case names the United States, the FAR Council, and numerous federal agencies as defendants. As of this morning, no injunction has issued. Absent a judicial order, the July 24th modification directive stays in force. So plan for compliance. Do not plan your business on the assumption that the court will stop this. The fourth thing is DFARS case 2021-D011. That's the FARC expansion. The industry comment period closed on the 6th of July. Industry analysis anticipate a final rule by October the 1st, and prime the sub flow down pressure well before that. So primes are already asking subs about their NIST eligibility and SF 328 posture. So if you subcontract on covered defense information work, that conversation is coming to you regardless of your bandwidth. The fifth thing is the Revolutionary FAR Overhaul Phase 2 comment deadline is 8 days out. Comments on the first 4 proposed rules are due on about July the 23rd. One provision would shorten some termination settlement submission windows from 1 year to 90 days. 13 FAR parts, more than 1,000 pages. This is the most consequential FAR rewrite in a generation, and the comment window closes next Wednesday. So please be sure to provide your thoughts, and have your voice be part of the official record. So please comment. And the last thing, and this is time sensitive, Vetter Proposal, which is a trademark platform of myself. I'm starting a 3-session webinar series. It was scheduled to launch today, but just as we was getting ready to kick off, we have weather moving in throughout the day and also construction in the neighborhood. And so we had a power surge and it knocked down everything, and it took a while. So what we've done is push session 1 has been rescheduled for tomorrow, Thursday, July the 16th at the same time. And so it's the same platform, same time, and it's just 1 day later. So I will come back to this at the end of the broadcast, but it directly addresses our survival mode program that we are going to talk about today. So I want you to drop a number in the chat. You heard the things that I list. I know Vetter on your radar may not be something you're tracking, but for which of these items lands closest to your business right now? And if there are more than one applies, drop them all in the chat. So just want to see where your thoughts are at. So now look at that list. CMMC suspended, FAR 52-222-90 in 90 days, lawsuit pending, FOC final rule in the fall, FAR overhaul coming in 8 days, and a new platform that I'm launching tomorrow, right? So 6 live work streams on top of the ones already on your desk from weeks 11 through 14, right? So if your reaction reading that list or listening to that list has been, when am I going to get to any of this? That is the week 15 diagnostic. You are stuck in survival mode. So the real problem becomes survival mode is not a bad week. Survival mode is a business operating system. So it looks like this. You are reacting to the contracting officers instead of leading your file. You are submitting what you could finish instead of what section L and M actually require. You are producing a compliant document that is not a competitive document. You are relying on the source selection authority to understand what you meant. You are hoping the delivery given because the pace is impossible. You're running your CPARS story on autopilot because CPARS is the thing you have no time for. And here's the hard truth from the other side of that table. In source selection, intent does not secure, or we don't score intent. Execution gets scored. The evaluator does not know what you meant. The evaluator reads what you wrote. The contracting officer does not grade you, nor does anyone else on that source selection evaluation team on how hard you tried. They're going to grade you on what you actually delivered, whether it was on time, at cost, and with quality documented. And if we don't see those things, or when we did not see those things, you did not score well. You did not win, nor did you make it to the competitive range, because there's no need to talk about something that you obviously don't know that you have the capability the wherewithal to do, or you lack the ability to clearly articulate that you can meet the agency needs or provide them with a probable or viable solution. So survivor mode is expensive because it looks like, productivity. I mean, you're working, you got your lights on, you're getting sent, things are getting sent out, but the wrong things are getting sent and the right things are not. And in a policy environment where 6 new work streams, or at least 5 new work streams from a policy perspective landed this week alone, survival mode is not sustainable in another quarter. It's not sustainable for another month. So we have to be mindful of that. So we spent weeks 11 through 14 building the diagnostic. Growth has stalled. You are doing too much yourself. You feel like you're making progress, but not results. Your systems are missing. And week 15 is the confrontation. If you have not addressed those 4 gaps by now, this is the week where the pace catches up with you. So let me tell you, what I saw from the other side of the table when survivor mode was running a company. Because once you see the signature, you cannot see it in your own week. So be mindful. Survival mode does have a signature. And when you learn to spot it in your own week, now you're able to, make some changes. So the signature is reactive rhythm. Every day is driven by what someone else needs from you, right? The CO, the prime, the sub, the client, the internal team member. You do not lead your calendar leads you. The email inbox is the to-do list. The last person who called is the priority. Deep work, capture proposal, CPARS review, team and strategy, that gets pushed to whatever unclaimed hour is left, which is usually 0. And when a deadline hits, you run at it, and the quality is whatever you actually provide or whatever you can finish. That's the quality of whatever. If a deadline arises, the quality of the output or your output is going to be, hey, whatever I can get in by the deadline, not whatever the statement of work required, not whatever the performance work statement required. It's whatever you can get out. And that is survival mode. And if you cannot tell me right now what your top 3 revenue producing activities are this week and prove they got protected time, or you are actually in it, that's your signature. You're in a reactive rhythm. The second thing to do, be mindful of, is protect the execution rhythm before you protect anything else. The way out of survival mode is not working harder. It is one specific move. Protect the block of time where the work that produces revenue actually happens. For most of you in this room or in this space, that is your capture and your proposal work. It should be blocked on your calendar as if it were a meeting with a source selection authority, because in a way it is. Nothing gets scheduled over it. Nothing gets read during it. That block is defended every day, 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever the number is for your business, but it is non-negotiable. Everything else, email, teaming calls, your admin, subcontractor coordination, your regulatory reading, that gets pushed to the margins around it, not the other way around. If you cannot defend 2 hours a day of protected execution time, your business cannot produce results at scale. It is just that simple. And then the third thing is build one repeatable system this week, just one. Do not try to fix everything at once. And that's a recurring theme that I will continue to foot stomp. Don't try to do it all at once. Pick the single process that fails most often when you are in survival mode. The proposal review, the delivery handoff, the CPARS documentation, the compliance calendar, the bid no bid decision, and build one written system for it this week. Not a document, not a policy, a checklist, short and ruthless. It's executable when you are tired. And that is the beginning of the way out. Because once one process without your full attention, once that process runs without your full attention, you free the bandwidth to fix, the next one and the next and the next. So systems compound, firefighting does not. So again, you're going to pick one thing, document it, create a checklist, make it executable so that it run without you. And then once that process get fixed, then we're going to go to the other one. And then we'll just keep doing that until all of the processes that you need in place or the systems you need in place, those repeatable systems, you completed them all, but it's one system at a time. But I know that was short and sweet. Don't want to be here all day and taking up a lot of your time. But one of the things I do want to do is I want to give you the announcement that goes with today's topic because it's the same problem. I've been building a readiness-driven proposal platform called Better Proposal for over 2 years now. Better stands for Value, Experience, Teaming, and Responsiveness. The 4 dimensions actually federal evaluators, actually score you on. And the reason I built it is exactly our survival mode problem we just walked through and what I witnessed from experience as a former contracting officer. Set aside contractors, they were burning proposal cycle after a proposal cycle in reactive mode, producing, compliant documents that did not win because they did not have a readiness system underneath the effort. So you can be working, you can be producing stuff, but because you don't have a system in place to hold that, you're just submitting documentation that don't win. And sometimes we're so clouded and so rushed and so tired, we can't understand why. So the Better Proposal webinar is a 3-part series and it is free. Again, as mentioned earlier, I did have to reschedule today's seminar. It is pushed to tomorrow, but going after that, they will still stay on Wednesdays at 11:30 to 12:30 for the following 2 weeks throughout the month of July. So the first series is an overview and the readiness vision. And then the second one, we were going to work through the Better framework. And then that third one series, we would actually talk about go from capture to submission. So throughout each of it, we actually will go through the platform. So you'll get a chance to see the platform in action, how it supports set aside, capture, and proposal teams. We'll walk through the value, experience, teaming, and responsiveness anchor for your strategy, which is also past performance, teaming, and compliance. And of course, then we will also look at a readiness-driven flow from opportunity identification to evaluable on-time submission. So we're going to go through that whole process. So we will review, you will get a chance to see how that flow works. And so again, all 3 of these are going to be streamed via Webinar Jam and StreamYard. So if you can only make one, the third is the payoff session. And if you can make all 3, again, you will see the full arc. Registration is out there on Eventbrite. And the link should be, and I think the link is in the chat in the SOS Sonar Feeds Facebook group and pinned in the comments on this broadcast. So if you're watching the replay, the link stays live for the next 2 sessions. So if you are in survival mode on your proposals, and most service disabled, veteran-owned small businesses, women-owned small business, economically disadvantaged women-owned small businesses, the 8A and even the hub zone firms in this environment, you are. And so this series, this is the exact fits I would build for you if you hired me, and it's free. So take the seat and come in and check out better, because I know it's going to be a platform people just love. So the veteran series is one delegation, and here's another. If you want a weekly read on the environment, the CMMC suspension, the FAR 52-222-90 countdown, the Maryland lawsuit tracker, the FOC final rule, the FAR overhaul comment windows, I published a regulatory brief that walks through every one of them, plus deeper analysis, sources, and the action items I give my advisory clients. So it is the fastest way to get out of survival mode on the reading list, and it's actually free to subscribe. And so the link for this is also in comments underneath the description for here in Facebook and this link. And so if you're still trying to read every law firm summary and every Federal Register notice yourself, this brief at least helps you out. Now, I do throw out the disclaimer, I am not tracking all websites. I know a lot of them be funneling information in, but I think we are tracking enough of what's current and what's actually happening so that we can get the information out. So before we close, I want you to pick one from a survival mode diagnostic perspective and drop it in the comments with the hashtag, survival. Is that proposal reaction gap? You are submitting what you could finish, not what section L and M require. Your win rate reflects it. Or is it your survival mode, the delivery reaction gap? You are firefighting on delivery. CPARS is drifting, quality schedule and cost documentation is not being managed in real time. Are you surviving in survival mode on your subcontract reaction gaps, or your primes are asking you questions about NIST and SF328 and DEI clause flow down that you do not have a ready answer for? Or do you have an internal systems gap? And so that means you do not have one repeatable system running without your full attention. So every process needs you, in the seat. And if it's none of the above, you got all of these gaps covered, hey, share with others how you make it happen, because that means you are running a defended rhythm operation and your team executes without you standing over it. And that's where we all strive or aspire to be. And so I want you to be honest, because again, this is not a point where we're scoring. The idea isn't for somebody to score well and, have it going on. We truly want to know where folks are at so that, hey, we can grow together. So to close out, if you have not already joined the SONRC's Facebook group, that is where the work continues between Wednesdays. Members are posting their stalled answers from week 11, their halfway, audit scores, their delegate gaps from week 12, and their progress diagnostic from week 13. And as well as their systems commitment from week 14. And now this week, you all are going to be doing your hashtag survivor diagnostics. So come on over and share, come read, what others are saying, and, come find your accountability partner, for the final week. We got 5 weeks. So come over and find your friend where you all can just help one another out. And just come back next Wednesday at 2 p.m., for week 16, your business lack discipline. And I want you to bring honest answers when you come. I want that to happen every time you show up anywhere. Be honest with the answer and the response that you provide. So here's what I want you to leave. Here's what I want to leave you with on today. Again, survival mode is not a badge, y'all. It is a bill. Say that again. Survival mode is not a badge. It is a bill. And every week you spend in it, you are paying interest on the systems you did not build. And in the 2026 policy environment, with CMMC just getting suspended, FAR 52-222-90 in 9 days, closing out, the FAR overhaul comments closing in 8 days, FOC, False Claims Act, FOC's heading toward an October final rule, and a lawsuit pending in Maryland, the interest rate is not going down. So again, survival mode is not a badge, it's a bill. And every week we're in it, we're paying. And the interest rate is extremely high. So that is not what we want to compound on. So the owners who grow through the final 5 weeks of this challenge and through the back half of 2026 are the ones who protect their execution rhythm, build one repeatable system at a time, and stop paying that bill. You have earned the right to get out. So, hey, take it. So show up on the Better webinar tomorrow, Thursday, July the 16th at 11:30 a.m. Section 1, again, was rescheduled from today till tomorrow due to a power outage. And then I want you to subscribe to the brief. So drop your survival diagnostic in the group. See you next Wednesday at 2 p.m. This is Dr. Lori Smith of Archaeologist and Sowing Our Seeds, and we will see you next Wednesday. Goodbye and have a wonderful day.